Well, it's 2020, and some of you are standing in line at a store returning a gift you got from an aunt that doesn't know you, and she gave you a thing you didn't like, and you returned it, and now you're going to thank her. Don't thank her for the thing that you bought yourself with her money. Remember to thank her for the thing that made her make you feel like she doesn't know you. Be thoughtful. Frank, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Pat. Welcome to the Pat Oates Show, POS. And tonight's special guest is the one and only guitarist, musician, animator, and stand-up comic, Mr. DB Danny Brown.
Hi, everybody.
Take it over, Pat.
Well, guitarist and musician,
What does that mean?
they're the same guy.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's true.
A musician writes music.
I thought you were
not. A guitar doesn't write music.
He's not a guitar.
I thought you were saying like that's way too much for this
A
guy.
guitar.
A guitar.
And by the way, musicians write music on guitars all the time.
Well, if
Not
I could
lyrics.
If I do it on a piano. What can I tell you?
You don't write. What do you write?
How do you know? How do you know
'Cause
what
I know
else I
we
do
talk
besides?
nonstop.
I had a life of almost 80 years. You think I just spent it with you?
And anyone that watches this show knows that you share every fucking thing you do. We would have already had that. How you were the young version of Alan Thicke making jingles and shit. If you hadn't done that, you didn't write any fucking songs. What song do you write?
Hey, Nancy, come out here. No.
You putting a trombone inside Barry Manilow's butt is not writing a song.
But if you could get a perfect E out of that, it is sweet.
It is sweet. Musician, butthole expert. Dan, have you been doing any of those things during COVID?
I've been playing a little bit of guitar and just trying to be a better guitar player.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been doing some animation too. I've been going a little crazy, like doing a lot of talking to myself.
I've seen that on Facebook. It's fun. I
Yeah.
worry for you, but I'm also enjoying it. Oh, Bobby is joining us. All right, good. There he is. Bobby said he might be able to join us late on. So he's joined us 3 minutes in, which is not late at all. But go ahead, Dan. Have you made any 3D weapons? Do you have a 3D printer, right? Don't you?
I don't have a 3D printer, but I do have a 3D sculpting program that I could sculpt something that I could print.
We should make some weapons.
Yeah, we could make like, I don't know, what kind of weapon would you make?
What's that thing? It look mace.
Mace.
Not
I could
spray, the old medieval thing.
I mean, if I had a 3D printer, I could probably get it done somehow.
We can make a 3D mace.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
You'd have the
Mace
mace.
is what you spray, right?
No, that's
Well-
that's the one for when ladies are being wronged. I'm talking about like a knight is like, I'm gonna fight you, but I don't want to joust it up. I'm gonna hit you with this weird club.
Yeah, some of them are in clubs, and I think some of them have a chain that you swing around.
Yeah,
Or
that one
maybe-
has a name too, though. With the chain.
A ball and chain.
No, that's marriage.
The old battle axe.
Hi, Bobby.
The ball and chain.
Hey, how
Hey.
late am I? Thought I
2
was
minutes,
right on
Bobby. This
time.
one started at 7:30. You're like 2 minutes late.
Oh, okay, good. You guys were already on maces and shit. I figured I missed something big.
This was just the be. I asked Dan if he's made any 3D weapons. That
Dan,
was it.
congrats.
We went to Mason.
Can I finish? Can I
You
finish? And co-hosting Bobby Tamburo.
Woo! Thanks, Frank.
Finish. You weren't even starting that. What are you talking? By the way, Bobby, Frank was not at lunch the earlier show.
Color me surprised.
He was watching the Giants. He blew us off for football, man.
That's cool. Did you guys make the playoffs, Frank?
It looks like we got a good chance. We beat. We
You
beat
did not
Dallas.
beat anyone.
We beat Dallas. Now we got to wait for Philadelphia to hit Washington over the head.
I'm going to hit you over the head. You are
Yeah.
not on
Guess who-
anyone's team.
Guess who handled their own
Frank
fate today,
A.
Frank?
Piddle.
The dog pound.
I know.
And
Oh,
guess when they did
there
it?
you
While we
go.
were recording POS earlier.
Yeah.
Just so you
Yeah.
know. I was willing to miss it.
I knew Cleveland made it because Twitter's talking about that because that's losers, and losers finally did something.
That's why I'm a
Well,
Cleveland
they
fan.
both made it. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh covered for the first time in a while.
Pittsburgh's had a lot of rapists.
Not even just their football team, just the
No,
whole
just
city.
Pittsburgh. I've been there. I've performed there twice. It's cold. The people there are not attractive. It's got a rape vibe.
Dude, I worked a job in Pittsburgh one summer where I had to go door to door and ask people for money for a clean water. Yep, it was for Clean Water Action Fund.
Were you raped?
Door to door with the door slammed in my face.
Oh, that's better than the other option.
Yeah. Well, it depends, Dan. We can either not give you the money and slam the door in your face, or we give you the money
Oh.
and the rape.
I guess the river can stay dirty.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was a disgusting, terrible place. I didn't like it. The only thing I liked was that Permante's place that has the sandwiches with the coleslaw on it.
They
And
have
the French
those all over
fries
now, though.
on the sandwich. But even that was like, okay, if that's all you got, Pittsburgh, I'm okay.
Did you do this famous Rocky thing where you run up the steps?
That's
and jump around?
Philadelphia.
Oh,
Boo, Dan. Boo.
I don't know anything about sports.
No, Pittsburgh.
Why'd you bring it up?
Pittsburgh's where you climb the stairs and then 6 homeless guys look just like Terry Bradshaw. That's what that is.
They just
All
keep
right,
saying things like, the still mill come back.
That's right.
The simple fact that their name. When I performed in Pittsburgh, I stayed in this shit little place, whatever. When you go to downtown Pittsburgh, it's weird because this was like 10 years ago or so. But they're pretty trusting for a town that sounds awful. And so, like, you could just walk into stadiums. I walked into the Pirates stadium, like the back area. You could just walk in. I was standing in the back by the stairs. You could just go in, and when it was closed, like, you get in, and that was odd. And then right near it, next to it, is where the Steelers play. And then down the street is Andy Warhol's fucking museum, which is like, this is fucking weird that this is all together.
Yeah. If you brought your own like football, could you just have a game right there?
No, you can't get to the field the way they block it off, but you could get in the stand. You could yell at a fake game that's not happening.
Oh, well, that's just as
Which
good.
I did.
I'm just practicing my commentating, guys.
Yeah. I'm just practicing my swearing and racism, guys.
You could just formulate a plan to dump soda on the guys that are walking through the little passageway.
I never thought about the people that dump Gatorade and soda on people formulating the plan first. Now I like it more. I like that there's a scheme, there's a plan, there's guys in place. You're the soda dumper, you're the carrier, you're the one who makes sure we have soda. Like, some guy's bad at it, you just watch.
Yeah. You can't just go in there with no plan.
Gotta have a plan.
What if he turns on you?
Dan, how'd your team do today? Did your team do good?
I was supposed to have a team?
Yeah, we have to have teams, I guess.
Darn. Yeah,
Well, good for your team.
I like it. I never somebody roots for his team like this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I've seen a lot of white men when they bet on the do that a lot. And that's mostly cocaine riding their team. But, I mean, I used to be a huge sports fan. I mean, Frankie, you and I have talked about that forever. But once I got into comedy, I just stopped caring about sports. I focused all on one thing. And now I don't have time to watch it, and I just don't care. And I hate to get into old timey stuff, but all the games changed so much that I don't like them anymore. Like, I loved baseball. And now I fucking hate baseball because baseball, all the fun of it is gone. The strategy is gone. I liked when there was, 1,000 people bunting and moving people over, and the strategy. I love the old Cardinals teams with Tommy Herr and Willie McGee, shit like that, where it was like, it took like brains to play, not just steroids.
Yeah. Like, you had to keep your steroid doses right below the detectable amount.
When it got steroidy, I didn't like what Sosa, McGuire, wasn't a fan. So they got like that. Barry Bonds' giant head, I wasn't into that at all. It was a giant head. But like in basketball, I always loved too. But I loved college basketball. And then when it became like they can only play until they're 14, then they have to go to the pros. It was like I'm just watching children run and sweat. And if I want to do that, I'll just get rid of this restraining order. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll start our first story. Dan, you remember how this show works, sir, right? I read off a story, then I kick it to each one of you guys, and we decide who's the POS.
Yes.
Bean Dad becomes Twitter's first main character of 2021. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but on Twitter the last couple of days, Bean Dad has become a guy. If you ventured on the Twitter,
yeah,
Yeah. If you ventured onto Twitter during the first weekend of 2021, you were probably wondering why everyone was talking about beans. The answer? Bean Dad. Became Twitter's first main character of the year, the person who had such a bad take that people feel compelled to dunk on them. Now, this guy, John Roderick, I guess his daughter, who's 8 years old, wanted some fucking baked beans, which is already a weird-ass 8-year-old kid, daughter. She wanted baked beans. And she didn't know how to use a can opener to open it. So this father thought this was a great way to teach a life lesson about how she needs to figure things out on her own. And for about 6 hours, made this 8-year-old child struggle while trying to figure out a can opener so she can have beans. And he reported on it, like in a way where I think he thought he was being funny, but it came off like a very awful dad and terrible person. Like this lesson of you need beans. And people were just shitting on this guy. Like, fuck you, like you're an awful person, isn't that whatever? And any parenting thing he thought he was getting out of this just backfired on him big time. And now he's become like the big stupid character. The story and the tone in which it was told infuriated everyone on Twitter. They're like, she's 8 years old. It's like 6 hours. So someone wrote like in capital letters, like, what the fuck? Why would you make a kid struggle for beans? That's a whole meal. You're 8. That's 2 meals. It's 6. They're only up for like what? They're taking naps still. I think at 8, you're only up for like 15, 16. That's half your day. It's just like, okay, so who's the piece of shit? Is it Bean Dad for trying to make some weird life lesson? Listen, teaching your kids lessons, I've never really understood that. As a dad, I like to talk with my kids. I like to hang out with my kids. I don't like to sit there and go, look at me, I'm an educator, and here's this thing I learned. Like, fuck off. You know, I've learned the most things in life from experiencing and being around, not from when someone made it sound like I was learning. You're learning right now. You know, this is how you shit. No, just let me shit, and then I'll learn how to do it. When you yell at your little kid how to poop, they fucking poop wrong. So like, you just let it go. Is it him for doing that? Is it Twitter universe for like, they're so evil. And listen, we're all on Twitter, but they're so crazy. They jumped on this. It's not only jumping on Bean Dad, it's jumping on the kid. This kid's now going to be trolled. John Roderick, his name's out there. The kid's 8, but the kid's probably in Zoom class, and 8-year-old kids are on the internet. They're going to shit on Bean Daughter, and you don't want to be Bean Daughter or Flickr.
Hey, asshole. You know what this is? It's a can opener. You know how to use it? Because I do, because I'm not an idiot like you.
That's the nicest thing. They're going to Carrie style her by dumping beans on her fucking head at her prom. She's going to be covered in stupid beans.
Dude, kids are just going to start calling her Bean. That's going to be her nickname from now until she graduates high school or kills herself, you know.
Oh my God. She's old enough to masturbate. Flickr Bean is the worst. Is it Twitter for jumping on this and going crazy? Or is it the daughter? What the fuck? Beans. Baked beans. You're 8. There's so much, this day and age, there are so many great snacks and treats. Listen, we've all enjoyed a good baked bean, but the second you make me work for baked beans, I'm not having it, baby. Baked beans are an afterthought. I don't fucking struggle and fight for baked beans. If I have some and some hot dogs, I'll eat them, but I don't ever plan on it. You don't scheme like you do for pouring soda on people, Dan. That's not what you do. You just eat beans. The second you told me to work on it, I'd quit. Also, where's the mom? I don't know their situation, but Bean Mom should not have left this daughter alone with Bean fucking Dad. Bean Dad is a terrible man. This is a stupid fucking lesson. Dan, we go to you. Who's the piece of shit?
As a man of science, I'm sure we've all seen these videos where there's an octopus in a tank and they put like a piece of food in another tank and the octopus has to go through like this elaborate obstacle course to get from one tank to the other and get that food. And they've also done the same thing with crows. So like if a fucking bird brain crow can figure out how to solve all these puzzles and problems, this 8-year-old should be able to step up her game and open that bean can.
I don't know what kind of can opener it was, but if it was a church key, I get it. But if it was an electric can opener.
Yeah, if an octopus can like go through an obstacle course, this fucking little brat better open that can of beans and cook that meal herself. God damn it!
I gotta go look up octopus obstacle courses. I've been missing out. I don't know anything about this.
They're all over the internet. They're good at it.
I wish
they don't go to kindergarten. They're not coached at problem solving.
You're right.
F that little kid.
They just get in there and they fucking take that fucking ball. They don't
have fingers.
Yeah. Beans. Octopuses don't even eat beans.
Well, I'm sure that octopus would have a better chance at opening that can. That little kid is a piece of shit.
That's what they should do. They should have this kid challenge animals at opening things up like a monkey every week. And then Jeff Foxworthy hosts it. Say, are you smarter than Bean Girl? And then you have to Bean Girl tries to open shit, and then an animal tries to open shit. You bet. I'd watch.
I would watch that show. Yeah.
Good show. Bobby, who's the piece of shit?
The father is the piece of shit. Like, that is not how you teach people whatsoever.
I am
like,
shocked.
If he wanted to take the time and be like, hey, this is how a can opener works, and like be that asshole, that's one thing. But like just being like, nope, it's a can opener, figure it out, is kind of the worst form of parenting. What I hope would have happened would have been the daughter uses the can to just bludgeon her father's head in and be like, well, I figured out how to use the can of beans at least. It's just a terrible person all around. I really read this story and hope somebody called Child Protective Services.
And what lesson is at 8? I don't think you need to know how to open a can of beans.
You shouldn't. It's very deadly. It's a great way to cut your hand. Like, 8-year-olds shouldn't be around cans.
They shouldn't be cooking. Because if she opened the beans early enough, you know he was going to make her cook it next.
Is this how he's going to teach all of her life lessons too? Like, hey, Dad, how does the car work? Well, hop behind the wheel. Let's see if you can figure it out.
Take it apart.
Yeah.
Take it apart.
Look
Hey,
at all
Dad.
the individual pieces.
Hey, Dad, how does sex happen?
I wasn't going to go there. I thought
Gotta
of it,
learn
wasn't going to go there.
Oh, God. Hey, Dad, Grandma had open heart surgery. How does that work?
Well, here's a scalpel.
Yeah, guess who's performing it on Grandma? You are. Her life is in your hands. Frank, who's the piece of shit?
I have to go with the father, but there's a backstory here. I can feel it.
Yeah, he's a bad dad.
Yeah. Obviously, they're poverty stricken, and a can of beans is a big treat for her. And also, at the same time, the father wanted some alone time for whatever reason I do not know. But he gave her a can opener and told her to open the can of beans. So he got 6 hours of alone time.
No, Frank, he stayed with her and coached her through and yelled at her. Yeah, he yelled at her.
He's a piece of shit. And you know what else happened? Once she opened the can of beans and they did put it on the stove and they did heat it up, he got his just desserts. He got 8 hours of farting.
Yes. Kid farts, which are the worst.
That's right.
Like
a bean fart, forget about it.
Yeah.
Like how this struck Frank's Depression era chord. A can of beans and a can opener. That's a great afternoon.
Were they traveling the rails?
Holy shit, were they rich?
And here's how you tie a handkerchief to a stick.
It's me, Boxcar Willie, and I'm here. We just used our teeth back then. Yeah, it's all just fucking weird, and it's all for attention, and I get it. And it's like, I think he thought people were gonna say he's a great dad. And here's the thing. No, but here's the thing too. 80% of these, we all see them. Like, remember when Kamala Harris was gonna be vice president? So people were like, my 6-year-old daughter woke up and she said to me that, Mama, finally women have ability and power. And finally, I know I can live a life just and good because Kamala. It's like, okay, your daughter didn't say that. She's 6. Stop lying to make up some story to get likes. Bean Dad probably didn't beat his daughter down about beans. He probably tried to show her he was a can opener. She couldn't open it. He thought it was funny. And instead of making fun of her, he's like, I'll make this whole thing and I'll look like a dad hero. And it backfired. But if he says now that, I was kind of elaborating on it and it wasn't that bad, they're going to think he's lying. So he's fucked because of him trying to get likes. Because he can't care that much about beans. Because she's never going to want to learn anything from him again.
Or can openers. Like, it wasn't even about the beans. It was about the can opener. He made her figure out how each piece of a can opener worked. You know how boring that is?
That's the most boring thing.
How'd you spend your last day of break? My dad taught me about a can opener.
Beans.
Oh.
She just says beans. Because I'm guessing she's not a well-spoken child. If she was raised by this goof, she's going beans.
From this point forward, anytime she's faced with a problem, she's gonna start shaking and rocking.
Beans. Here, hon. My hands are full with the grocery bags. Put the keys in the lock. Can't do it. Beans. She can never watch something about Mary. There's nothing she can do. Oh God, what a shit.
Did she ever open the can of beans?
Yeah, 6 hours later.
Oh.
My favorite point was halfway through, though. She was like, I give up. And her dad was like, this is when I had to make a stand.
Yeah.
I announced no one in this household will eat until we eat those beans.
I like how Frank was excited, like season 2. It was spoiler alert. Did she ever get the beans?
I wonder if she has a bunch of dead brothers and sisters who just couldn't figure out their problem that they were given.
They made a story about their family. It's a movie called Alive. They all eat each other because they couldn't figure out can openers. All right, let's see if we can get something more fun. Utah hiker survives 100-foot fall on cliff ledge, stranded for 5 hours before rescue. A hiker in Utah survived after falling more than 100 feet onto a cliff ledge where he lay stranded for over 5 hours until a fire crew rescued him on Sunday, authorities said. So, is that the whole article? Oh, is that the whole article? That's the whole article.
A piece of shit.
Oh, read more. Never mind. Thank God. There's a picture of a fingernail that's growing other fingernails on it, and it's really freaking me out on this thing. And it says, "Do you have bad breath?" Anyway, the 29-year-old male was hiking in an area west of Ensign Peak, located near downtown Salt Lake City, when he fell. The man lost his phone during the tumble and could not call for help on his own. The man, who was not identified, I think it's funny they identified John Roderick and his beans, but they won't identify this asshole for falling. As not identified, suffered injuries to his pelvis and one of his legs in the fall, according to authorities. He appeared to have been hiking alone. He yelled for help, waved his arms, and flashed his flashlight until a group of homeless people who lived nearby spotted him and called 911. Fire Captain Tony Stowe told the Salt Lake Tribune. Fire crews arrived and used harnesses to rappel down the face of the sheer cliff and reach the man. Videos show rescue workers lowering the man onto a gurney down the cliff. Stowe told the paper that the man was conscious but disoriented when they found him. He said the rescue took about 2 hours. The man was taken to a hospital for treatment. His current condition was not immediately available. Who's the piece of shit? The man? Can people stop hiking like this? What is this? On my other podcast, Podophiles, I have a guy on there named Brandon Smith. Brandon is a fucking very weird person. And one thing he does a lot is hike alone a lot. And it's like, you're going to die. You're in the woods. We evolved away from woods. That's what we do. We got out of there. You don't need to go spelunk or fucking explore. You're not Lewis and Clark. You're just some asshole. You're such an asshole. They don't even give your name. Stop doing this. It always ends in someone falling. Is it him? Is it the homeless people? I don't know why, but I find it hilarious. In my mind, he's hiking far away. Where are these homeless people? How homeless are they? You're supposed to stay in a city at least to get some stuff. You're in the fucking woods. You're out in crevice. How did they find a stranded man? That's the last person I would think would ever find me if I was stranded. Were homeless people. They're the most homeless. That's not homeless. That's hermits. They're not supposed to be out there. Is it them? Is it Twitter? Is it social media? Is it the news that gets infatuated with this shit? That people, we every time this story happens and someone falls and they bite their arm off, they do dumb shit, they put it out there and we all keep reading it. When in reality, nobody gives a fuck. No one does. No one cares about hiking. No one cares about this guy. He's unnamed. He's unknown. He broke his pelvis for what? For fucking pelvis. That sounds terrible. I'm not sure exactly where that is, but it's gotta hurt. Who's the piece of shit? Dan, we go to you.
These homeless people. Get it together, homeless people.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're the worst homeless.
No, but kudos to homeless people for being able to figure out Morse code or whatever he did with the flashlight that signified that he was in trouble. But I guess the guy is a piece of shit because, like, yeah, I mean, what was he doing? Like, how do you fall off of why are you walking around at night in the woods near cliffs with a flashlight?
On a ledge.
Yeah, what do you? This guy's a total POS.
Listen, there's no problem with. I made a joke, but hiking is fine. But you don't do it at night. You do it during the day, and you try not to die. That's the rules of hiking. Going near a ledge alone. Listen, you go out to the woods with a buddy to smoke weed or a girl who thinks you're not interesting and it's your first Tinder date. That's what you hike for. You don't do it by yourself to fall off a cliff and break your pelvis and have homeless folks be the hero. Never let homeless folks be the hero of your story. That's the rules. Frank, who's the piece of shit?
Obviously, because I know what happened, Bush Food Products. They gave the homeless people a year's supply of baked beans.
That's the last story.
What's the last story?
This isn't about beans.
You didn't say anything about beans when he fell?
No. Who the fuck said beans?
All right, never mind.
Well, now I gotta read back. Did I say something about beans? No. No, Frank, I didn't say anything about beans.
All right. Since I really didn't follow it that well,
okay,
I'm gonna say
wait, no. Now I gotta find out if I said beans. Did I say beans? Stowe told the paper the man was conscious but disoriented. Okay. Fire crews arrived and used harnesses to rappel down the face of the sheer cliff. He yelled for help, waved his arms, and flashed his flashlight until a group of homeless people.
Ate some baked beans while he waited for hospital workers to show up on the scene.
There you go. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Did they pay the homeless people in baked beans for their services? I like how you said with authority, too. Since I know this story, I'll take it from here.
All right.
Baked beans.
All right. I mixed up the stories, okay?
Frank, we talked about this. If you're going to have a stroke on the air, you got to tell us so we can take advantage of it. You got to care about the show. Are you all right?
I'm fine. I think, well, then I have to go to my go-to. Pat, you're the piece of shit.
No, it's not me in this.
Story.
How is it me? It's you for thinking this story is about beans.
Guys, I can solve this problem because I know who the piece of shit was.
Not me.
Who?
It's not Pat. It's the reporter. There's zero details in this story. We don't know if the guy's alive or dead. We don't know what he was doing there. What if he's searching for his lost puppy? Then he's a hero for falling off the cliff. We don't know why he was out there. If you call the hospital and go, hey, is this patient alive or dead? And they go, we can't really tell you. I go, I'll wait till you tell me and then I'll print the article. How's that sound?
Nice. Hey, in last episode, Frank, you weren't on it. Bobby and I started doing a thing. I forgot to do it this time. We're also adding another person to the piece of shit, the author of the story, and I'm naming it. So Steven Soras of Fox News wrote this because if they're gonna put a shit story out, we're gonna yell at them too. And there were some pretty bad stories on the last one, so we're always gonna mention the person that wrote it because fuck them for putting it out there. We'll get one of them on the show. I hope we get one on. Some writer. I don't think we'll have it. So, but Frank, what was your? Before I corrected you, what was that answer going to be?
I would, how could there be a piece of shit in such a heartwarming story like that? I mean, the guy was out hiking by himself. Is that a crime?
Yes.
No.
It's a crime.
Why is that a crime?
Because people we invented the internet. You don't do that anymore. You just get VR glasses.
Then in that case, he's the piece of shit. Yeah. He's the one that's that. But you got to realize the homeless people got some publicity out of this. They'll probably get some kind of reward for doing that. It may not be the Bush baked beans that I said, but they might get something.
Frank, they're gonna get nothing. We don't even know if they're homeless people. This story is so poorly written, like Bobby said. They could have not been homeless people. They could have been rescue workers. We don't know anything.
All right. So obviously, it's the writer of that story.
Oh, fuck you, Steven Solas.
That's right. Phoebe is a piece of shit.
Yes.
How can there be a piece of shit in this story? Well, about a year and a half ago, Pat started a podcast called The POS Show where we all have to pick a piece of shit. That's how there's one.
Yeah, and there always is one, even if it's me, and it's fine.
Just make it up. Yeah.
Frank, do you have a story this week?
I got a small one. Okay, I really did some thought about coming in with something that was really, real tight and quick. The problem is I already spent 30 seconds talking about how tight this story's going to be.
That's
okay.
But
it's basically about my father-in-law that came up to live with me 2 years ago.
Who was behind you in the photo for people that don't know?
Behind me in the photo.
And next to
We're
him
at,
is his brand new whore.
Right. We're in Mohegan Sun, and we're doing some gambling. And I said, let's go have some lunch. I said, hey, let's go to Pepe's up here. You never had New Haven pizza. So we go into Pepe's, and he sees on the menu anchovy pizza. And he says, I would love anchovy pizza. I haven't had anchovy pizza in 50 years. I said, all right, let's get it. So we get anchovy pizza. And now I'm trying to figure out, he's not saying anything, but I said, I got to do something with him. He needs a lot of attention. This is pre-epidemic. I said, let's go all around Connecticut and find the best anchovy pizza. In the next 3 months, we started when he was 100. We ended it when he was 101. We went around looking for the best anchovy pizza. Finally, after 3 months, we're in our 12th place. And I ordered the anchovy pizza, and he says, hold it a second. He says, Frankie, why do you think I never had anchovy pizza in 50 years? I said, I don't know. He says, because I fucking hate it.
Wait, what? Why did he want it?
I wanted pepperoni pizza. I said, well, why didn't you say anything? So we had pepperoni pizza.
And for a year, the guy's lived 100 years, and for a year, he just suffered eating something he doesn't like?
That's right. He's a nice guy.
That's not a nice guy. You had to pay for shit you didn't like. You had to drive him around. You thought you were being noble. Then he makes you feel like a dude.
I was being a good guy, finding some place for him to go. So we had a journey, and I had to keep on reminding him that we're trying to find the best anchovy pizza. I had to constantly tell him that.
But he kept eating it?
Yeah, because he's a good guy. But finally he got fed up to it, and he said, no.
Just give him baked beans from now on.
Yeah, bean pizza. Fuck yeah.
I'll show him.
All right, so who's the piece of shit, Bobby, in the pizza story?
Frank, I love you, but I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, I think you're the piece of shit. I feel like, did you ever tell him, Sam, we're going to find you the best anchovy pizza? Because I think maybe he just thought you wanted to find the best anchovy pizza and was like, I guess I'll go along with this guy. Right. I feel like there may have been a communication breakdown, and you both are so polite. You're raised with a better generation than mine. You have manners. So neither one's going to speak up and say, I'm not that big of a fan. So I think it was just a communication issue. I'm going to blame it on the toxic masculinity.
Oh, you think an 80-year-old and a 100-year-old had fucking communication problems? First of all, they shouldn't be allowed in the streets driving around willy-nilly.
Pat, you probably shouldn't talk too much shit about Frank's driving ability.
Yeah.
Dan, who's the piece of shit?
Oh, this is a tough one. Because I feel like Frank's father was like a little confused. So I mean, I don't know. I feel it's hard to say, but I feel like maybe Frank could have anticipated that he was like a little, not with it upstairs. But I'm not gonna say Frank's a piece of shit, but I feel like Frank's
defense.
Yeah,
his father-in-law handled that can opener pretty well. It only took him about 3 hours. So
I can't wait until this is over. I'm gonna wake him up and we're gonna try it.
Bean grandpa. It's gonna be the best.
And I have the beans.
Frank,
bean pizza.
You are not the piece of shit in this story.
Thank you.
Sam is the piece of shit in this story. I've met Sam. The two of you guys have not, so there's a difference. Yes, I met Sam a little bit younger than he is now, but not much younger than he was now. I've had a conversation with Sam. I've eaten food with Sam. We ate food at a hotel at their breakfast buffet, and Sam spoke up and said, I don't like this kind of egg. I like this kind of egg, Frank, and you know that. So Sam fucking speaks up. He's not the polite man you're making him out to be. Sam just was hoping that you were going to fucking get tired of the anchovies, and he was just happy you're buying pizza because he's so old that he's a baby now and can't spend his own money, and he was happy you were just buying him stuff. That's it. He just wants to complain. He has this story now, so when he needs you to, like, at 4 a.m, go get him water or some milk or something, he can go, remember that time you force-fed me anchovies for a year, you asshole? That's what it is. He's using his guilt. This man has lived through every war. He was there at the beginning of racism. He held a hose and stopped black kids from going to school. He understands. He knows everything. He knew what was happening. And guess what? Next week, he's going to ask you for anchovy pizza because he's an asshole sometimes. You are not the piece of shit in this one, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And thank you for your shortest and yet, by the way, most heartwarming story you've ever told.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you.
I'm just
Bobby, you don't
disappointed
have
you didn't try to
anything this week,
bang
right?
anybody this time.
Bobby, you don't have anything, right?
I do have a story for you
Oh,
if you're
okay.
willing to listen.
No, and I would love you to have one. I just didn't want to spring that on you since I know you weren't even planning on being on this show. So, but I
No
appreciate
worries.
it.
No worries. So this starts with, remember the Spider-Man quote, with great powers comes great responsibility.
Real quick, let me just pause quick. Dan, I'm not sure where this story is going, but usually Frank's stories end in him getting laid by some woman, and this one did not.
That's not
Normally-
true. That's not
normally-
true.
Bobby's stories are usually an innuendo about something either horrible about me or something I'm trying to do or some way he's trying to help me, and it's never really a real story. So I don't know where it's going, but I just wanted you to know history. Go ahead, Bobby.
Okay.
New year, new me. With great power comes great responsibility. And I am probably the fastest bike builder this side of the Mississippi River.
Ooh.
However, I fucking hate building bikes. It is my least favorite thing to do in the world. You bang up your hands. It's like a real manly job. I like to just kind of sit there and stand around, a little baked, and then go home, you know? But they called me in. Our bike guy was like bitching that he had so many bikes to build, he was never going to be able to catch up. And so our manager was like, Bobby, I need you to come in and build bikes. Gave up one of my days off to go in and build bikes. I built about 30 bikes, and I came in after the holiday. And in the toolbox, he has outlined in marker where he wants all of his tools to go, and has built 0 bikes. So instead of building bikes, which were so far behind, he thought he would spend an 8-hour shift doing that. And if the story ended there, it'd be very clear who the piece of shit was. However, when I opened the toolbox and saw that and spent the rest of my shift hiding his tools throughout the store, random places, random fixtures, the question lies, who is the piece of shit?
Oh, it's easy.
Is it me for retaliating, or is it him for being a time-wasting piece of shit?
Dan, go first.
I think it's the guy who like made all the little drawings in his thing that to tell where the tools go. Because I mean, come on, everybody else is like doing man work and sweating, and he's like coloring.
He's doing paint by number to make you do your job. It's like, fuck off. Frank?
It is easy. I mean, the guy is anal. I mean, he definitely has a problem. And anybody with a sense of humor would have done what Bobby did. I thought that was great. Bobby's a hero in this story. And I think,
Thank you.
you know, I would have to say that the guy who owns the toolbox is the piece of shit. He deserved what he got. And I hope Bobby got some laughs out of it.
Oh, this happened today, so
Bobby?
we will find out what happened.
Where did you hide his tools? Did you hide his tools anywhere good? Like in the top of a toilet tank or something?
There's one in the medicine cabinet in the bandage like little thing. So
Nice.
he's gonna have fun the next
Now,
time.
this is a sporting goods place, right?
Yeah.
There's so many hiding places. It's
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
that you could hide.
Under shelves, upstairs in the mezzanine. My favorite one though is there's one just hiding somewhere throughout the store with fishing line, just hung down, just slightly out of your eye line. So you look up, you'll see just, oh, there's the pedal wrench.
Nice.
Okay. You're the piece of shit, but not for the reason that you think. It's not, the hiding part is fine because I'm all about the revenge. That guy's a dick. Listen, you don't manage like that. You don't do that. You don't be a dickhead. If he wants you to make sure, if you were somebody who was always putting the tools in the wrong spots, he should be like Bean Dad and sit there with you and teach you the ways of where they go. An adult can take a lesson like that. To do that, to demean you, that is wrong. That being said, now that I work in retail, and I know that Frank has worked for many people, that Dan has worked in grocery stores and things like that, you're not all thinking about one thing. What happens when something goes missing? They never blame the person that hit it or fucking lost it. They blame the person in front of them. So if I'm at work and they can't find a fucking wrench, they're going to go, where the fuck did you put it, Pat? I thought you walked by it. And now they don't care about reasoning. They're not like good people. They're just going to start yelling. And now everyone's going to get upset. And then they're going to tell you that you can't use their tools anymore. You have to buy your own tools. And you have to buy special tools that they have. And they have to spend money they don't make to make $12 a fucking hour during goddamn COVID because you fucking wanted wanted to play fucking Home Alone 2 and hang shit all over the place with fucking fun little pranks. So because of that, now assholes are going to lose all their fucking money because you had to get revenge because somebody thinks you're not smart enough to put tools away.
My response would be, if you want me out of your toolbox, build your own goddamn bikes.
And I guess my response would be, we will enjoy your job. Because we hired you to build our fucking bikes. Your resume said best bike builder this side of the business. Okay? So you're the Dalton of bike fixing. For now, the reference, Dalton was the greatest cooler in Roadhouse, and one of the best bouncers of all times.
That's
which, by the way, I don't know why that's a ranking. I don't know who was ranking them. There's a bunch of pieces of shit in that, but yeah, that's the one. But when I'm at work now, we have to do stuff whenever we can. We use tape measures a lot because we have to like build end caps at work. So like on the side with the shelving, we have to do a planogram, and so many people don't put the tape measures back where they're supposed to be, and they're all over the store. You can't find them, and people just start yelling, and then they say things like, "You can't use tape measures anymore." It's like, what are you talking about? So whenever I use it, I walk it back and I out loud yell like, "Look at me putting it back into the second drawer." It goes like, and they're fine with me doing that. But everything I ever use, I gloat, I yell out loud. And if I do leave it somewhere, I own it right away. Someone's like, "Who left it there?" I'm like, "Oh, me. I'm an idiot. My bad. Won't do it again." I don't blame anybody else because I know that they're going to give me wrath if I fucking lose the shit because someone else is going to get yelled at. So you're a piece of shit. Good, because usually it's me from you, and I'm happy. I got to call you a piece of shit.
Hey, can I get complimented like Frank for a good story for once?
You always have good stories.
Oh, thank you. I just want to hear you say that.
And so does Frank. By the way, in the year 2021, where we're trying our best, you both do quite well, and I'm very happy that I get to do a show with both of you. And Dan Brown is one of my favorite people in the world. And one of my favorite guests, and my brother's favorite guest on the podcast ever. My brother doesn't like most people. So I'm very happy and blessed to be around all three of you. And no one has a gun to my head. I mean to say this, and it's fine. Before I read another story there, that reminded me to share a story here. This is there might not be a POS story, but I kind of feel like in a weird way there's going to be one, but not the way you see it. Recently, I've gone through, a breakup. Okay. And I'm not going to go into details or anything crazy like that, but in a relationship for a while, sometimes you share certain things. And one thing that we shared was sometimes she would use her card on something if we were buying something, use my card on a thing, whatever it is, whatever. We had broken up. We don't talk anymore, all that stuff. On January 1st, a lot of things renew if you don't pay attention to them. And I got an email from GoDaddy that told me that I was being charged $121 for a website. And I don't have $121. I'm trying to pay rent and take care of things and waiting for that good old stimulus check come. And I'm like, I can't really afford an extra $121 coming out. And I wanted to yell and I wanted to scream and I wanted to go nuts. Before I did anything and got mad at anything, I took a breath. And I said, this is no one's fault. This is a mistake that happens. I can call the place. I went online first, looked it up. GoDaddy has a strict policy about if you don't pay attention to what's going on with the renewals, that they'll hit you no matter what. You don't catch it before. But I'm like, if I talk with reason and I talk with kindness, maybe it'll work through. Because for 46 years, I've yelled at folks. It's worked sometimes, but more times than not, it works once, and then they stop being nice to me or stop servicing with me afterwards. Kind of like when a loud mom yells at a teacher, they think she's helping her kid by screaming, and then the teacher just bows down, but then that kid gets treated like shit for the rest of the year because of the mom and not the kid. And I didn't want my life to be that way. So I called up, talked to one person. They weren't sure if they could rectify it, but they said they would do their best. And I said, I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want her site to go bad. Please make sure that the notification is sent saying, hey, you get an any way you can give her an opportunity to change over her stuff to make sure she gets her website still going. Give her time. They said, wow, we never really heard anybody. We've had this situation happen before with certain people, and no one's ever been understanding. Of course we can. And then they said, we'll let you know the next day. We'll call you tomorrow. But then at midnight that night, I got an email that said, we've figured out what the problem is. I mean, they just told me what I already knew the problem was, and then said there's nothing we can do about it. But if you want to call us tomorrow, you can. And it said they have a 24-hour service, so I was going to call and scream again. But then I said, once again, What's that going to do? I'm already on blood pressure medication. It's not going to solve anything. Yeah, I'm broke. Yeah, this sucks, but it's a mistake. It happens. It was my card at the end of the day. I should remember where all things are. It's not anyone's fault. But I called the next day, and a man named Ricky answered the phone. And Ricky is one of the sweetest souls, one of the best bike builders on the west side of the Mississippi. A wonderful man. And Ricky and I talked for a couple of minutes, and Ricky said, "Let me see what I can do." I was on hold for 15 minutes listening to some of the sweetest jazz, like that fun, like Louisiana, and I had on like loudspeaker, and me and my kids were dancing around. Believe me, if this was a Tom and Jerry cartoon, I would have had blackface on and a stovepipe hat, and I would have been dancing around, not in a bad way, just feeling the music. And I was feeling good. I'm like, whatever happens here, you know what? I'll be okay. Yeah, I'm struggling. But when you're already this poor, you can't be more poor. That's all I'm thinking. It's like when someone says, "Oh, you're broke again." I'm like, no, I'm the same broke from the last time. I don't ever get better. So it's fine. Ricky comes back. And what does Ricky say? He goes, I talked to my boss about it. You'll be getting your money in 3 to 5 days, and her site will be fine. And I said, "Ricky, thank you very much." He goes, "No, thank you, sir. This is 2021. I've already been yelled at 4 or 5 times. You're the first nice person of 2021. I go, "There's one thing people say about Pat Oates, nice person." He kind of laughed too. Who's the piece of shit in this story? And I'm going to ask you guys right now not to make my ex, that won't help anybody. It won't even be funny. Let's just not even go there. It's not her fault in any way, shape, or form. Is it GoDaddy for having some crazy Gestapo policy of like, sorry, if you fucking make a mistake, you're fucked, take your money? You're GoDaddy. You're doing pretty well. You're not Bean Daddy, but you're GoDaddy. You know what I mean? You're doing all right. You can let people out of their problem. Because, by the way, and backtrack a little bit, a month and a half ago, I used to have a website for my own self, patoates.com, which I don't use anymore because when COVID happened, I'm not working as much, didn't need it right now. I let the domain go. Because of that, I canceled the day that it was supposed to be renewed. And they were going to fuck me, but it was only $17. So they were like, we'll just give you $17. So they have the ability, but I thought with more money, maybe they're going to fuck me, whatever it was. Is it me? And I really do think it's me. Because I can't even be a good person without gloating about it and feeling like I'm righteous. Like, I didn't do anything good. I'm not Zen all of a sudden. I didn't make things better. I just didn't act like a fucking third base coach at a baseball game when somebody said it was a ball instead of a strike. I didn't scream at folks. I didn't yell at them. I treated people with manners, and I was shocked by the results. It shouldn't have taken me 46 years to figure out that if you cure more things with honey than poop, or whatever the saying is. Who's a piece of shit? Frank will go with you.
Simple. You are. I mean, it's so simple. I mean, you use the right term, gloating and being a mensch. You're a mensch. You were a mensch. I'm saying that you were a mensch for 3 minutes, and that you did something that you're supposed to do normally 7 days a week.
I brought my dad to fucking pizza for a year.
You're coming out of the dugout and you're taking bows after bows.
You did it too. You just bragged about driving an old man around for pizza charity.
You're taking
that's the same shit.
And putting it into another story.
The man
we stay focused on the story at hand.
I took Skeletor to his fish pizza tour. That's all I did was drive him around.
Now, Pat,
mentions. Don't give me any shit.
I mean, you made a boring story into something that you should be proud of.
That's what I do. Have you heard my act?
I do that every day. I do that every day with people.
My act is that, Frank. I take a boring story and I make it fucking not a little less boring. Bobby, who's the piece of shit?
I do think Frank has a good point, though. Like, I would like to tell a story. I was fucking this chick, and she was like, "Oh my God, your dick's so big. You've ruined me for other men. Am I the piece of shit for ruining her, or?"
Yeah, you are. Because other men want to fuck this lady because if she'll fuck you, she'll fuck anybody. So what are you doing?
I think you're the piece of shit in the story because I would have used this as an excuse to text my ex and been like, "Hey, what's up? How are you? Do you have this money? Because I know things aren't going well here. Let's go grab some coffee."
Not going to get a lot of details, but that's not a thing that can happen.
Okay. Well, then you're not the piece of shit. I feel like you handled it like an adult. The website for costing $121 when yours cost $17. Is that a
I
fair
guess
option?
it had a lot more bells and whistles. I don't even know what it really was, but
I don't think there's a piece of shit in
I'm
this story.
assuming mine was something that was going to get charged monthly, and hers was a year. I don't even know what it was. I didn't even have. That's the thing too. It was on my card, but it wasn't on my account. That's why they didn't pick it up at first. So therefore, I wouldn't have access to see what it was.
Gotcha.
That's why it was more hidden. Mine, I would gotten emails at least saying it's coming up soon,
Right.
whatever. So
Then I'm going to say the author of the story is the piece of shit.
Dan, who's the piece of shit?
I don't know. I feel like like some of the off limits information is vital because there's got to be a reason why there's no communication with that person because
Dan, we'll talk off air. Let's not go any farther. I probably shouldn't even told the story.
There you go. That's it.
Life, it's been tough.
Anyway, sometimes I feel like the world just keeps telling you that you got to be the bigger man. You got to be the bigger man. The world doesn't tell anybody else that they got to be the bigger man. It's always you. So I'm saying the world, God.
I want to go one step farther with you, and I want to say people need to start telling people they need to be the smaller man.
That's the only advice I ever give.
Weak. All right, 3 people and a cat killed after plane crashes into Detroit home. And I haven't read the rest. This could be gruesome, but I just thought it was funny that the cat made the headline. A family of 3 was killed when a small plane crashed into a home in a suburb of Detroit. The crash killed all 3 people inside the plane, identified as David Campo, the president of the Home Builders Association of Southeast Michigan, his wife, Michelle. I didn't know they were going to name all their names. And their son, Dawson, the HBA president, Michael Skoskokoff, said, according to a tweet by Mark Kevin. A cat died in the Lyon Township home that was struck by the... Oh, wait, so the cat wasn't even with them.
Oh, my God.
A cat that died in the Lyon Township home that was struck by the plane about 45 minutes west of Detroit. Family inside the home escaped, but the impact set the 2-story Russell Lane residence ablaze, leaving it a charred, blackened mess. Images from the scene showed. The crash is under investigation. Who's the piece? Oh, by the way, I forgot. Hold on. It is written by Catherine Boniello. And by the way, she spells Catherine in the most cunty way ever. Kathianne. Kathy Ann. Not Catherine, Kathy Ann.
So wait, I'm confused. I missed something. A plane crash.
Cat was in the house.
You both froze, and I didn't get to hear what you said. But yeah, a plane crashed, and then a cat was in the house, and the cat died as the plane crashed into a house. So 3 people died in the plane, but the cat just died in the house.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like Toonsist the flying cat?
No, Toonsist is not the pilot of this cat of the plane at all. Who's the piece of shit in the story? Is it the author for naming all their names and their weird jobs? Is it the cat for not being able to? The cats are supposed to be smart. Dog, I get dying. A cat is supposed to be smart and land on its feet. If a plane's coming, listen, a cat knows when a guy's coming around with a spray water bottle to nail him. You should know when a plane's coming. It's a fucking cat. Is it Detroit? Because Detroit's terrible. And this is something that should happen in Detroit all the time. Detroit's like more ghetto Florida. Bobby, who's a piece of shit?
The pilot. You have one job when you're flying a plane. Don't crash.
I don't think he died. They just said
he wasn't there. The pilot wasn't there.
Yeah.
Must have been.
That's an issue. The pilot for not being in the plane when it
Now,
crashed.
Frank, you weren't on our last show, but we had another story where the pilot also wasn't there. This is becoming a theme where the pilots aren't there.
He parachuted to safety.
And then he got caught in some electrical wires.
The crash killed all 3 people inside the plane, but doesn't say who was flying the plane. All 3 people would mean the pilot died, which we would mean, right? I mean, they're pilots of people.
Yeah, I would imagine he's one of the people in the
wife,
plane.
and the kid.
A family inside the home escaped. The family escaped.
Did
Wanna know
They
they
didn't
why?
grab the cat.
did they get into like a yellow flotation boat like in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? And
Yes.
they yes.
That's exactly what they did. A cat died in the thing. So who was the pilot?
I was thinking now they see like a weird bunny that follows them everywhere, and they have to go back in time and stay in the house and die to reset the timeline.
Is that
That
the
was
is that the plot
Donnie
that
Darko.
JoJo whatever? No.
Donnie
Donnie
Darko.
Darko.
Oh.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
I don't know. I know people say you're supposed to like that, but I never liked it. I tried to watch it, I hated it.
I've never seen it, but I know that there's a weird rabbit with like weird teeth in it.
No, that's
Basically,
that's
he's
Jake
supposed to get hit
Gyllenhaal's
by
sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
he's supposed to get hit by a meteor or something. It's a terrible movie. You're all right. If it was up for a piece of shit, the author would be who I would choose.
Yeah, for not naming who the pilot was. That's really throwing me off. All three died, but they didn't say one of the. Okay, obviously the kid didn't fly it.
If we're going with the Indiana Jones and the
why it
Temple of Doom,
crashed.
if we're going with the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom scenario, this gangster named Lao Che wanted to have them assassinated, so he had the pilots jump out of the plane as soon as it ran out of gas.
All right, so Lao Che is obviously the piece of shit.
Yeah.
All right, but if Lao Che wasn't there, I'm guessing the father was the pilot. Is that sexist of me?
Yeah. Could have been the wife, could have been the kid. The kid.
How do we know there was a
they could have
family
been
on the plane?
70 years old. They could have been 70 years old, and the kid could have been 52. We don't know
You
because
don't call him the kid then.
the author. Nobody called him a kid. They said the
You
son.
did 3 times.
I did because I don't know. I didn't write the fucking story.
You did.
I'm blaming the author.
It
the
says right
story.
here, written by Frank Morgallo. Kathleen Bonello.
That was an awful written story.
I'm going to read it again because I'm really throwing. A family of 3 was killed when a small plane crashed into a home in a suburb of Detroit. The crash killed all. This feels like a riddle now. The crash killed all 3 people inside the plane, identified as David Campo, his wife Michelle, and their son Dawson. And the person who told them that was the HBA president, so the boss of Campo, Michael Skokopov. He's the one who knew they were all in the plane. A cat died. Oh, maybe there was like a battle for the Home Builders Association, and maybe this was a fucking fix. Maybe he killed off the family. This guy knows about it. Why does he know? It's under investigation, but he know. Ooh, intrigue.
Right, calm down, Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, it's me, Angela Lansbury. That's who's in that picture with Frank's dad. A cat died in the Lyon Township home that was struck by a plane about 45 minutes west of Detroit. I think they realized this story sucks. So like, how do we make it better? Let's. Did a cat die too? All right, let's put the cat in it. Family inside the home escaped, but the impact set the 2-story rusted lane residence ablaze, leaving it a charred, blackened mess. Images from the scene show. The crash is under investigation. But that's it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely the author. Like,
Yeah.
2 people survived the crash, got out of the house, and they're like, you know what? Let's focus on the dead cat.
I'm telling you, people don't even care about. There's no more journalism anymore. Well, that's the one thing that this show is proving. These stories, I know I just read them off and I don't really pay attention to them, but see, people can think, oh, Pat's a bad reader. I mean, I'm not the best reader, but at the same time, these are terribly written. And there's so few details. And it's just like, it's almost like someone's making up a story and then they don't think it's enough. So they're like, oh, yeah, and there was also a wizard. Like, what? Like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about the wizard. Like, they're just throwing shit in. Like, a cat's dead, and then family got away, and then Campo. Like, they don't even know what they're saying. So who's the piece of shit, Dan?
Oh, man, I'm leaning toward the pilot because no matter which way
There's no pilot.
There's no pilot.
I mean,
Somebody was flying the fucking plane. There was a pilot.
No.
like it could have been the mother or the father, but maybe they're bad parents and their little kid was just making a bunch of noise and they were like, I can reach you from here, and then like they turn back and there's a house in front of them. Like in any way you look at it, it's them.
I can reach you from here. I hope they yell that in a plane. Now, first of all, and I'm going to say the joke for the 15th time, I don't care. If the woman was flying it, then there's no shock that they died and crashed because a woman shouldn't be flying a plane. one of them tried it. What was that famous lady? What was the famous lady plane lady?
Oh, Amelia Earhart.
There you go. She sucked.
Yeah.
She was the worst at planes. Is she still alive? No.
No.
Sucked at planes.
Who knows? Nobody knows.
She wouldn't have been alive even if she survived.
Yeah,
What?
she would have been old.
Yeah, she would have been old
Well,
as
not
shit,
now. Wait, the way you worded that, I'm like,
dude. There's a
she wouldn't
picture
be
of
alive
a
if she
woman.
survived.
There's a picture of a woman on an island in the Philippines that looks an awful lot like Amelia Earhart. So I like to think she made it and just decided I don't want to be famous and just landed in the Philippines.
There's a picture of a pancake that looks like Jesus in Mexico, but it doesn't matter.
That's right.
They always find Jesus in their pancakes there. They call them
It's
crepes.
just Jesus.
He's on toast. Jesus loves breakfast.
Does. Bobby was a piece of shit.
I'm gonna go with the author of the story.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's terribly written.
How can you make a plane crash story boring? I mean, Dan made up 2 pitches just off the top of his head that were more entertaining than what was there in a plane crash story.
Yeah, and if you're gonna mention the cat, make up the cat's fucking name. No one's gonna call you on it. The family's not involved. Make a story about the cat. This cat was a rescue cat. It finally found a home that had love in it, and then the plane crashed and killed this cat. So this story where the cat never gets a good fucking ending, that would be a good story. You can make it into like a Netflix Black Mirror thing or some shit. They should have done something with it. And how about that family that got out of the house and didn't save their fucking cat? Fuck you. I don't even know if it was the same house. I couldn't even tell in the story if that was a different house. The story was all over the fucking place.
I'm just saying,
Frank,
I feel like Dan should be a writer.
He is. He writes his own jokes. And he writes
And
cartoons
his own music.
and animated cartoons.
That's right.
And they're all about plane crashing.
Nice.
The next one, yeah.
You should, Dan, you should do one of your next, if you ever do any more of the COVID comedy things, you should get Bobby's funny and he's easy to draw.
Okay.
Bobby's cartoon looking.
All right.
Cartoon looking.
Have you seen his work, Bobby?
I have not. No.
You gotta check it out. Dan's made a bunch of one where he takes. I'm in one of them, and Dave Haynes, bunch of people, and he draws us, and we send in like comments of an act, and he puts it up there, and it's fucking hilarious, and he fucking animates parts of your jokes. It's fucking awesome.
It sounds incredible.
It's
I'll
way
check it
better
out.
than the
Excellent.
fucking story we just read.
That's right.
God damn it!
Which was my whole thesis. That
Yes.
Dan's hilarious and should do more creatively. So I'm glad we've.
And I
already
appreciate your
established
thesis, and I think you're a professor.
that. Thank you.
Professor Bobby Tamburo.
You can call me
No, you
Dr.
be
Tamburo
Robert.
now.
You be Professor Robert Tamburo. You have to be when you're a professor. You can't be Bobby.
I would be Dr. Bob Tamburo just to piss off my dad because he's an MD. He'd be
Oh,
like, "You're a fake doctor." I'd be like, "It still says doctor."
yeah, doctor of words, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle was a doctor of French words. So that's so
It's a fancy way of saying unemployed.
yeah. No, he actually made good money fucking making people learn a language they didn't want to. Dan, where can people follow you, see your stuff, all that stuff?
They can find me on YouTube and Twitter. I'm under Ghosty Films, and I think I'm either Dan Brown Comedy or Ghosty Films on Instagram.
I want to say you're Dan Brown Comedy on Instagram. Your Ghosty Films on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're not active on either.
On YouTube, I try to put up a video every
No,
month.
YouTube, you're good. Instagram and Twitter, you don't care at all.
Not so much.
But you should put your animated stuff on Instagram. You can put it in the stories and people can see it. You should. That'll be another way to get more views. But
Okay.
we'll talk off air when I also tell you about why I can't talk to people. Anyway, Frank, anything?
And yeah, now you could follow me at the Pat Oates Show, POS. And
There is no POS Twitter.
there's no POS.
No, I gotta
Never
make
mind.
one. I gotta make.
Okay.
That's the one show I have without a Twitter. We're working on that.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully when the epidemic is over, I'll be back doing some comedy. But it's not safe for me to be out there at my age.
But you're traveling around eating pizza,
Well, no, that was pre-epidemic.
right? It's right
Yeah.
now. I look behind you. You're having pizza in a restaurant.
Well,
I see it.
it's
They're very still. She's got a big glass of booze. Is he grabbing her ass, by the way?
I don't know, could be.
He's getting some.
They
He's
like
getting
each
some
other.
thigh. He definitely is. Bobby,
Eastside Dave Show every Tuesday at 7:30 on Compound. While you're there, check out How Could You Forget 2020? It's a show Luby and I put together. It's a lot of fun. It's a game show. And Bobby Timber all across social media.
Nice. I have comedy shows coming up, which
Ooh.
I've shot at, and of course they're 2 days in a row, so I've no shows to like just look back a week. January 16th, I will be at the Stranger Tides Brewing in Colchester. I performed there before. It's an awesome place. I'm performing with my good buddy Brian Bowden. That'll be a lot of fun to do that show there. And on January 17th, I'll be back at Comics headlining a Sunday night show. That's going to be a weird one, Frank. That's going to be the first time that I'm there with Luke being gone. Luke Hoskins, and I just want to say this quickly at the end.
Yeah.
Luke Hoskins was the sound guy for comics and one of the nicest, funniest, sweetest dudes, and just so supportive of every comic there. The work he put into it, he would joke around like during the contest. He would like if somebody sucked or during the Bringer show, he'd play music that made fun of them. He didn't. He was he was just a guy. He knew my act inside and out. He literally would come up to me and go, "Hey, you should try doing your joke like this," or send me clips of things. Even though like the club would be like, "Hey, you should throw us money for the clips." He's like, "No, Pat, you're here all the time. I got you." And he was just a great dude who loved comedy and loved hanging out with people. Yeah. And he was in his 30s, and I'm not sure exactly. I didn't really get the details.
29.
29. Yeah, I was young. 29. I didn't really hear all the details. I don't really want to give a lot of details on here anyway, but it's going to be really weird to not have him in that sound booth when I'm there. It sucks. So it's like that someone that young would die, but whatever. I don't want to dedicate this show to him because I don't think it was a good show, but no, okay. We gotta do a better show and dedicate them. But you can follow me all over at Pat Oates on Twitter and Instagram. It's Pat_Oates. Don't bother following me on Facebook. I just put the thing. I pander more on Facebook. I put things I really care about on Twitter, and on Facebook, I'm like, "Do you guys like puppies?" And then watch people fight about it because they think the puppy likes Trump. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being on it. And Bobby,
remember, don't be a piece of shit.
I'll try to remember.